Can a colorful spring turn black and white? Can the month of February be eternal? Can eternal words of wisdom be devalued? Unfortunately, Ukraine knows the answers to all these questions. Unfortunately, all these answers are yes. Every year on May 8th, we, together with the entire civilized world, honor everyone who defended the planet from Nazism during World War II. Millions of lost lives, crippled destinies, tortured souls, and millions of reasons to say to world evil, never again. We knew the price our ancestors paid for this wisdom. We knew how important it was to preserve it and pass it on to our descendants. But we had no idea that our generation would witness the desecration of words that, as it turned out, not everyone believes to be true. But this year we say, never again, differently. We hear the phrase, never again, differently. We say these words painfully, cruelly, without an exclamation, but with a question mark. You say, never again? Tell Ukraine about it. On February 24th, the word never was erased for our country. He was shot and bombed by hundreds of rockets at 4 in the morning, which woke up the whole of Ukraine. We heard terrible explosions. We heard again, instead of never. The town of Borodyanka is one of the many victims of this crime. Behind me is one of many witnesses. Not a military facility, not a secret base, but an ordinary 9-story building. Could this building pose a security threat to the Russian Federation, a nuclear state that owns 1/8 of the Earth, to the world's second-largest army? Could anything be more absurd than this question? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. These are high-explosive bombs weighing 250 kilograms, which the superpower covered this small town, and it stopped talking. It cannot say today, never again. It can't say anything today, but here everything is clear without words. Just look at this house. Once there were walls, once there were photos on them, and in the photo there were those who once went through the hell of war. 50 men were sent to Germany for forced labor. Those who burned alive when the Nazis burned more than 100 huts here. 250 soldiers who died on the fronts of World War II, and a total of almost 1,000 Borodyanka residents who fought and defeated Nazism in order to never again. They fought for the future of children, for the life that was here until February 24th. Imagine people going to bed in each of these apartments. They wish each other good night, turn off the lights, hug loved ones, close their eyes, dream of something. There is complete silence. They all fall asleep, not knowing that not everyone will wake up. They sleep soundly, they dream of something pleasant. But in a few hours they will wake up. They will be awakened by rocket explosions. And someone will never wake up again. Never again. The word never was dropped from this slogan. Amputated during the so-called special operation, a knife was inserted into the heart and, looking into the eyes, they said, "It's not us." They tortured with the words, "Not everything is so clear." They killed the slogan, "Never again," saying, "We can repeat." And so it happened. And the monsters began to repeat, and our cities, which survived the terrible occupation, so terrible that 80 years is not enough to forget about it, saw the invader again and got the second date of occupation in its history. And some, such as Mariupol, and the third. During the 2 years of occupation, the Nazis killed 10,000 civilians in it. During the 2 months of occupation, the Russian Federation killed 20,000 people. Decades after World War II, darkness returned to Ukraine and it became black and white again. Evil returned again. In a different form, under different slogans, but for the same purpose. A bloody reconstruction of Nazism was staged in Ukraine. Fanatical imitation of this regime, its ideas, actions, words and symbols, in detail, maniacal reproduction of its atrocities, and an alibi that seems to give evil a sacred purpose. The recurrence of his crimes and even attempts to surpass the teacher and take his place on the pedestal of the greatest evil in human history, to set a new world record for xenophobia, hatred, racism and, consequently, increase the number of victims.
Встановити новий світовий рекорд з ксенофобії, ненависті, расизму і числа жертв, до якого вони можуть призвести.
The slogan, "Never Again," was an ode to an intelligent man, the anthem of the civilized world, but someone faked it. He distorted the words, "Never Again," with the help of doubt, made them less loud, starting his deadly aria of evil. And this is clear to all countries that have seen the horrors of Nazism with their own eyes. And today they feel a terrible déjà vu, they see it again. All peoples who called the third class, slaves, without the right to their own state or even to exist. They hear statements that exalt one nation and erase others with ease. They say that you don't really exist, you are artificially created and therefore have no rights. Everyone hears the language of evil again and together they acknowledge the painful truth. We have not lasted even a century. Our "never again" was enough for 77 years. We could not neutralize evil, it was reborn, again and now, again and now. Again and now. This is understood by all countries and all peoples who support Ukraine today. And despite the new mask of the beast, they recognized him, because, unlike some, they remember what our ancestors fought for and against. They did not confuse the first with the second, did not change their places, did not forget. The Poles did not forget that it was on their land that the Nazis began their march and fired the first shot of World War II. They have not forgotten how evil first accuses you, provokes you, calls you an aggressor, and then attacks you at 4:45 and says that it is self-defense. And they saw how it happened again on our earth. They remember Warsaw destroyed by the Nazis and see what they did to Mariupol. The British did not forget how the Nazis wiped out Coventry, which had been bombed 40 once. As the Luftwaffe's Moonlight Sonata sounded, at a time when the city was continuously bombed for 11 hours. How its historic center, factories, St. Michael's Cathedral were destroyed. And they saw rockets hit Kharkiv. As its historic center was distorted, the factories and the Holy Dormition Cathedral were destroyed. They remember London being bombed for 57 nights in a row. As Fao fell on Belfast, Portsmouth, Liverpool. And they see how cruise missiles arrive in Nikolaev, Kramatorsk, Chernihiv. They remember the bombing of Birmingham. And they see how his sister city Zaporizhia is suffering now. The Dutch remember how Rotterdam became the first city to be completely destroyed. The Nazis dropped 97 tons of bombs on him. The French remember Oradour-sur-Glane, where the SS burned alive 500,000 women and children, mass hangings in Toul, the massacre in the village of Asc, many thousands of people who came to protest against the Nazis in occupied Lille.
Багатотисячна акція спротиву в окупованому Лілі.
They saw what the invaders had done in Bucha, Irpin, Borodyanka, Volnovakha, and Trostianets. The French see how they occupied Kherson, Melitopol, Berdyansk and other our cities, where people do not give up and go to thousands of peaceful rallies, which are beyond the power of the invader, and all they can do is shoot at civilians. The Czechs have not forgotten this either. In less than a day, the Nazis destroyed Lidice, leaving only a settlement of the village. They saw Popasna destroyed. There is not even an ash he left of it. Not forgotten are the Greeks, who survived mass killings and executions throughout the territory, the blockade and terrible famine. This is also remembered by the Americans, who fought evil on two fronts, which passed through Pearl Harbor and Dunkirk together with the Allies. And all of us together are going through new no less difficult battles. This will be remembered by all Holocaust survivors. How one nation can strongly hate another. Lithuanians, Latvians, Estonians, Danes, Georgians, Armenians, Belgians, Norwegians and many others who suffered from Nazism on their land and all those who defeated it in the anti-Hitler coalition have not forgotten this.
На своїй землі і всі, хто переміг його у складі антигітлерівської коаліції.
Unfortunately, there are those who, having survived all these crimes, having lost millions of people who fought for victory and won it today, will desecrate the memory of them and their feet. The one who allowed the shelling of Ukrainian cities from his land, which, along with our ancestors, liberated his ancestors. The one who spat in the face of his immortal regiment, placing executioners from Bucha next to him, challenged all mankind, but forgot about the main thing. Any evil always ends the same. He is always defeated. Dear Ukrainians, today, on the day of remembrance and reconciliation, we bow to all those who defended their homeland and the world from Nazism. We celebrate the feat of the Ukrainian people and their contribution to the victory with the anti-Hitler coalition. Explosions, shots, trenches, wounds, famine, bombing, blockades, mass shootings, punitive operations, concentration camps, gas chambers, yellow stars, ghettos, Baben Yar, Katyn, captivity, forced labor. They died so that each of us knew what these concepts meant from books, not from our own experience. But it happened differently. This is unfair to them all. But the truth will win and we will overcome everything. And the proof of this is called werewolf. This is the former pond in Hitler's bunker near Vinnytsia, and all that is left of it are a few stones, ruins. It is the ruin of one who considered himself majestic and invincible. This is a guide for all of us and future generations. This is what our ancestors fought for and proved. No evil will escape responsibility. It will not be able to hide in a bunker. It will not leave a stone unturned. So we will overcome everything and we know it for sure. Because our military and all our people are descendants of those who defeated Nazism. So they will win again. And there will be peace again. Finally again, we will overcome the winter, which began on February 24th and continues on May 8th, but it will definitely end and the Ukrainian sun will melt it and we will meet our dawn all over the country. And family and loved ones, friends and relatives will be there again. Finally again, and over the temporarily occupied cities and villages, our flag will fly again. Finally again, and we will gather together and there will be peace again. And no more black and white dreams, but only a blue and yellow dream. finally again, our ancestors fought for this.
Наші предки.
Eternal honor to all who opposed Nazism.
Стояв нацизму.
Eternal memory to all those killed during World War II.
Другої світової війни.